morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at Mega Camerupt EX. You see, Mega Camerupt is coming out. And it wasn't one of the ones that got a booster pack artwork over in the West. It wasn't one of the big ones people were super excited about. But as soon as it came out, as soon as it was legal for tournament play, would you believe it? It started doing some winning, and that means we need to have a chat about it. And we might as well start off having a look at, well, shockingly enough, Mega Camerupt. So Mega Camerupt DX, we got 340 HP, that's massive. We got single energy, 80 damage, but if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, it actually does 240. Now, we've also got 4 energy, 280, and then you have to discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. I told you about this before, but let me say it again out loud. Ignition energy. If you want this attack to work, you have to go and use Ignition energy, and essentially you have 1 energy on there. Ignition energy will pay the other colorless cost, and then you can sit here doing 280, and because of Ignition energy, and only because of Ignition energy, this can actually work. Well, the list that I'm seeing over in Japan, they're not playing Ignition energy, they're actually playing very little energy. So here, we're not using that second attack. The second attack is not what we're going for. We are going full bore into the first attack. Okay, so let's do this. So what we really need is a way to poison our opponent's active Pokemon, because we're doing 80 damage plus 160, 240, that's huge. That's basic EXs, all single prizes, etc. How are we going to get the poison? Well, that's easy. Volcanion. Volcanian's just absolutely perfect for Mega Camerupt here, because Volcanion, while it's active, you can just poison your opponent's active Pokemon once per turn. Yes, I know Volcarona can do it from the bench, but it's a stage 1 that makes you discard an energy from your hand in order to do so. Put bluntly, Volcarona's too awkward. This one, it is far easier to get a basic EX in and out the active than it is to have a stage 1 sitting on the bench discarding energy. That's when it gets too awkward. Plus, might as well say it now, Latias EX. You know, the one that gives free retreat to all of your basic Pokemon? Absolutely huge here, because essentially what this means is you need to get a switch. And we're going to be playing 4 switch, alright? But you just need to hit a switch. One of your Pokemon can retreat, and one of them can switch. So you switch into your Volcanion, poison your opponent's active, free retreat with Latias. Oh, would you look at that? Now they're poisoned, and you can go ahead and do 240 for a single energy. And there's basically 2 things that we're relying on with Mega Camerupt to make this a good deck. Number 1, we are relying on single energy 240, very efficient attack. Number 2, I got 340 HP. You're not KOing me here. We are going to get big. By the way, 2 other Pokemon we're going to be playing in this deck, and they're pretty obvious. We got Squawkabilly and Pheasantipity, the support birds, as I like to call them. Pheasantipity, flip the script. If you had a Pokemon code last turn, draw 3 cards. Great, sees a bunch of play in a million different decks. Absolutely brilliant. And then you've got Squawkabilly from Paldea Evolved. On turn 1, you can discard your hand and draw a new hand of 6. You really want to be rolling with this as fast as possible, making sure that you've got your Camerupt stage 1, because Mega is a stage 1, and all the other support you need. So yeah, there we go. So what are we doing in terms of making this a little bit beefier? Well, our A-spec of choice here is going to be Hero's Cape. That's what we're going to be going for here. Gives us an extra 100 HP. That's it. That's what it does. But you got to bear in mind, we're coming from a situation here where we've already got 340 HP. So when we add 100 HP to that, that is going to build up very, 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 very quickly. And now you've got a 440 HP Pokemon, and that becomes very hard to get through. Now, there is another card from Mega Evolution we're playing here, and this is Wally's Compassion. And yes, we have an English scan of Wally's Compassion right now, but not of Camerupt. Make of that what you will. Heal all damage from one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon EX. If you healed any damage in this way, put all energy attached to that Pokemon into your hand. Well, remember what I said were the two things we're doing with Mega Camerupt here. Number one, we are making sure that we are having an efficient attack for a single energy. Number two, we're relying on being bulky and not getting KO'd. Yeah, this is perfect. Because we've got a 340 HP Pokemon, which goes up to 440 with Hero's Cape, but we're only ever attaching one energy at a time. So when you play Wally's Compassion, and let's be perfectly clear, we are playing many Wally's Compassion, well, that means that you're healing up, and the only downside is you put the one energy that was on it into your hand, and then you reattach it, and you're good to go. I don't see a downside there. This looks absolutely fine by me. Love it. The downside here, of course, being you're only allowed to play one Hero's Cape, so we're going to play a Rigid Band as well. We'd rather have a second Hero's Cape. That's not an offer, it's an A-spec, we can only play one of them. So Rigid Band will have to do. You whack it on a stage 1, and as well as a Mega EX, this absolutely is a stage 1. And then you take 30 less damage from attacks. Okay, that'll do. Again, it's all about just staying alive, not being KO'd, and then using Wally to heal up when you get to that point. It's lovely. Now, the other thing we're going for here, and you might have noticed this with Squawkabilly a moment ago, speed. We want turn 2 240. That is important. So yes, we've got Squawkabilly, but we're also playing Carmine here and Pokegear 3.0. Now, Carmine as a supporter is not that good. You discard your hand and draw 5. It's a bad Professor's Research. Side note, we're playing 4 Professor's Research. But that doesn't matter, because you can use it on turn 1 going first. What we don't want here is having, you go first, you have that one turn, but you can't use a supporter and you can't attack and all of that. And then your opponent has a turn, and then you've got to try and get rolling, but you've only got one proper turn. Yes, Carmine is a moderately bad supporter, but it's a supporter you can use turn 1 going first. And by playing like 3 of these and 4 Pokegear, your chance of hitting it turn 1 going first become actually pretty high. And then you've got your Squawkabilly as well. So in theory, turn 1, you're going to have your Numel. You're going to have your Camerupt ready to go. You're going to have your Volcanion. You're going to have a switching card. You are trying to set up here to be as ready as you can, so the second turn 2 hits, you are ready to roll. And if you're going to do that, Carmine and Squawkabilly, those are the answers. That is how you make sure if you go first, big turn, your opponent has a turn, and then you're hitting 240, 240, 240, 240, 240. It works beautifully. Now, there are actually a couple of other cards we need to talk about here. Little bit disruptive. We're actually playing, as our stadium of choice, Pokemon League Headquarters from Obsidian Flames. Not a card we see all that much, but one that does pop up. It increases the attack cost of basic Pokemon by 1 colorless energy. Well, you're not playing basic Pokemon, you're playing this. So here, again, you're just trying to buy a bit of time, get an extra attack off, waste your opponent's resources. And you know what? Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. And while we're doing a bit of disruption, Grabber. We are, for some reason here, playing 3 copies of Grabber. Your opponent reveals their hand, you put a Pokemon you find there to the bottom of their deck. It's basically the same theory here as with Pokemon League Headquarters. The theory is, I am going to slow my opponent down. I'm probably not getting one-hit KO'd, because I'm huge. And 240 damage is probably enough, because I'm not getting one-hit KO'd, and I'm doing it really fast. But it's still nice to have this little bit of extra insurance, so to speak, making sure that just in case your opponent can't do very much against you. here's the list as a whole. I legitimately love this deck. It is a bit of a combo deck, but the combo is fairly minimal. You've got Camerupt with a single energy, Volcanion, and you need Latias on the bench. And then you need to make sure that you draw a switch. Having a switch like every turn, or every turn you need Volcanion, is very big. And this is one of the things that worries me a little bit here. I would be tempted to play a little more switching just because of my own paranoia. But when it works, you've basically got a 440 HP Pokemon hitting for 240 for a single energy. And if you don't one-hit KO it, it's healing up. You cannot tell me that doesn't sound like fun, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot tell me that doesn't sound like fun. But I've told you all about it now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this. Tell me if you think it's going to be legit. Tell me if you think it's a little bit overblown. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Uncle Pokepeter, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.